Welcome back. Leaders can oftentimes identify past experiences that help prepare them for future endeavors. That's certainly the case for John T. Grant Jr. He's the CEO of 100 Black Men of Atlanta, an organization working to improve the lives of African American youth. A negotiator, marketer, a strategist. His job is an amalgam of skill sets developed years ago on a North Carolina farm. He talks about the virtue of volunteerism in today's Executive Profiles.
Because I want to know about John Thomas Grant Sr. Let's go back to North Carolina, shall we?
We can go back to North Carolina. How about being born in the back of a store? My grandfather ran a little country store, and my mother and father lived in 2 rooms in the back, which is where I was born. My father taught me a lot of things about integrity, about character, being a person of your word. He was a hard worker. We grew up on a farm. 5 of us, you know, and we're all 1 year after the other. So not only did he work hard as a farmer, but he was very busy. I spent time just following him around, riding with him on the tractors in the field, and before you know it, I was sitting between his legs learning how to drive, and I didn't realize at the time that he was grooming me because it wasn't long after that I was in that seat by myself.
Right. He had enough push, as I'm sure your mother did, to make sure you got a good education.
He did.
You went to college.
We did. We went to North Carolina A&T State University.
Right. And you graduate, and then do you have a vision for what you want to do?
I started working part-time, you know, on the loading dock with airborne freight, and that began my career with them. Right. So I stayed with them in various capacities in the company for 21 years.
Right. You were district manager. You supervised a group.
Yes.
And then what happened? Why didn't you stay with Airborne?
You know, when I moved to Atlanta, which is what brought me here, I didn't know a soul. But my father always gave me another lesson. He said, you know, anytime you're in a group of people, just observe, stand back, observe. There's always someone that will seem to know everyone and that everyone seems to know. And that's the person you want to meet. And so moving here, not knowing anyone other than the people I work with, I tried to get involved in Atlanta through volunteering. Introduced myself to this gentleman and said, my name is John Grant, new to Atlanta. I'd like to get involved in the city and I need your help. And Ed, he looked at me and said, you know, that's a very nice young man, but I don't know you, and the answer is no. And he walked away. Okay. Being persistent as I was, you know, I continued to do what I could, and I saw him sometime later at another event where, you know, I was volunteering, and I walked up to him again and asked the same question. And he said, oh, yes, I remember you. The answer was no then, the answer is no now, and he walked away. A few months later, was with some friends, and my friend said, hey, look, I need to go by my cousin's house. He knocks on the door, and guess who opened the door?
Perfect.
This gentleman's name was Dr. Willie Clemens. And from that point on, you know, he became a mentor for me, introduced me to a number of people who were also mentors for me along my journey, included Mayor Maynard Jackson, Ambassador Young, many other business leaders, and got me really involved. And he actually got me involved in volunteering for the 100 Black Men of Atlanta when it was formed. And that became my journey into this organization. And when I turned 30, he and others said, look, we want you to join. And here I am today.
Well, in a big way. I mean, you take over 100 Black Men of Atlanta, what, 13 years ago?
2001, November 15th at 7:32 a.m.
There we go. And my, how we've grown. Talk about the 100 for a minute and the programs and what you're most proud of in the last 13 years.
I like to say we're in the human capital development business. So we take, you know, young people from challenged communities that others probably would not give a lot of credence or opportunity to, and we actually make them into successful, contributing individuals. And there are just countless stories of young people whom lives we have transformed, not only theirs, but their families. And it's a part of what our members commit to do, you know, to give their time, their talent, and their resources to create opportunities for deserving young people who, that's all they want is a chance. And that's what we're in the business of, providing them that chance.
So I have one last question for you, because I know it's a topic that you're also very passionate about, and I never would have figured that the National Wildlife Foundation would be such an important part of your life and how serious you are about it. Talk about what you learned and why it is as important as it is to you, and why it's important for the next generation to pay attention to wildlife.
Well, you know, the National Wildlife Federation is the largest conservation organization, membership base in the country. We are not separated from the chain of nature. We're actually a part of it. And every time one species becomes extinct, we are weakening that chain. We live in a beautiful world. I mean, an absolutely beautiful world that we oftentimes take for granted. And so because this organization and the federation of affiliates that are connected to it are committed to preserving those things that are valuable to us, to our survival. You know, I'm just honored to serve on that with such a great group of people. And I've learned so much from them. And I hope that they have from me as well.
Aside from heading 100 Black Men of Atlanta, John Grant also serves on several local boards, including the Center for Civil and Human Rights and Central Atlanta Progress, the latter of which has been instrumental in a variety of initiatives, most recently the sale of Underground Atlanta and the Atlanta Streetcar Project.